Hi, I'm Lisa Blanchard. Welcome to my blog, Scarred No More, Fitting into Sleeves. Today, we're here with Peter Moo to talk about love and beauty. Hi, Peter. Welcome.
Hi, Lisa. Thank you. It's glad to be here with you.
Peter and I have been friends for many years now. We met through a membership organization, and we share a love of Landmark. And I'm really excited to have him here today to talk to us about love and beauty and hear it from a perspective of a guy.
Wow.
No pressure.
I think honestly that's the first time I've been asked about my perception, my ideas about love and beauty as a man. So thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. That's awesome. Hey, so let me ask you something. Now I see that this blog that you're running is titled "Scarred No More" and fitting into sleeves. Would you share with me? What was your inspiration for this title, and where did that come from?
Sure. So I was born with a birthmark as a child, and about at age 11, it started to change, and the doctors felt that it was becoming cancer. I mean, in reality, in today's world, they would have said it's just your hormones changing. But back then, they were concerned, and so it was removed. And my father was in the military, so the birthmark was removed by a military surgeon, and just kind of butchered my arm. The goal was to get the birthmark off, not any kind of cosmetic, aesthetic effect on the arm. So what was left is I had this scar on my arm and this misshapen arm right as this kind of tween age when I was first starting to become really concerned with my identity and how I looked. And it really shaped how I saw myself. I saw myself as deformed, and especially since all my life I had really been this beautiful daughter of my parents. And when you couple that with some sexual abuse, I just kind of was feeling deformed inside and out. And so I grew up, life went on, and along the way I had like weight gain, weight loss, weight gain, children, that kind of stuff. And I got to the point where my body image and my self-image was really just not healthy, not good. And so I decided to take it on as part of actually some work I've been doing in Landmark. And one of the issues I had was not only being scarred and wanting the scars repaired, but my arms were misshapen and carrying so much weight that I don't fit into like a regular size sleeve. Like all sleeves, you can see how tight this is. Like,
I see.
Yeah. And so I just wanted to not only not be so scarred, but also I just wanted to fit into normal clothes and sort of feel more normal. Like there were times where I was having to wear like maternity size clothing, even though I wasn't pregnant because of some body issues. And so this journey has really been about not only repairing my physical body, having actual surgery to repair these scars and these damage, but also trying to repair the internal image and damage and the feelings I had, or repair them or release them, just kind of changing so that the inside and the outside kind of had cohesion. That makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, thank you for sharing that with me. That makes sense now. And I think, thank you for inviting me to this conversation. I think this is a really relevant conversation now, especially given the current environment where a whole generation of young people is beginning to discover their identity and what love and beauty really is, and for those who are impacted, young men and women who are dealing with whatever that they were given, right? And being empowered and transform their conversation and their relationship towards that. I think that's really awesome. It's very inspiring. So thank you for doing this project.
Thank you for being here.
Awesome.
So Peter, what is love to you? What does love look like? How does it affect your world?
Oh man, what does love look like? Great question, by the way. What does love look like? I think to me, I think to me, well, there are many kind of love, and I think to me, one kind of love that really speaks to me is in communication. Love to me is being fully known and fully knowing someone.
Mm-hmm.
Being fully known, as in that, it requires courage. It requires, vulnerability. It requires knowing yourself, and it requires intentionality. It requires actually you to be at peace with who you are and what you're dealt with, the way that you look, and the way that you grew up, and your background, your whatever aspect that makes up of who you are, and being fully known, for you to be able to communicate that to the fullest extent, to express yourself to the fullest extent, to really allow yourself to be known by another person. Drawing a contrast to oftentimes what you see in social media, or in in even social situations where people carry around this image or this facade, where that's the version of them that they want you to see, right? Where everything's perfect. You live in a beautiful house in a great neighborhood, you make so much money, drive a nice car, and everything is beautiful, and there's no struggles in life, right? And the conversation is oftentimes very superficial. I don't feel love, given that kind of a situation. So when I feel love, and most love is that I am fully known
Mm-hmm.
by another person, and that my communications to them are fully heard and fully listened to. And also love, on the contrary, is the going the other direction. And love is also knowing someone fully, to know another person fully, like what you just shared with me, right? That what that you were, when you were being vulnerable, sharing something about yourself. Love to me, and for me to express my love to you, is to fully listen to you, right? To fully hear what you have to say, to fully understand where you're coming from, and to fully understand who you are as a person, right? That requires me listening more and speak less, right? I hear that people say once that God gave you 2 ears and one mouth, and there's a reason for it, because you
Mm-hmm.
gotta listen more. So that to me is one form of love, being fully known and fully knowing someone.
So, I'm hearing you talk about love in a very general sense. Do you have romantic love in your life?
Oh yes, of course. I am fortunate to be in a lasting and romantic relationship with a beautiful woman, Lisa Blanchard, as you know her as well. Um, so yeah, I've been really fortunate. In fact, that really got me present to how we actually started. At the beginning of our relationship. Um, I remember that love to me, for many years, it used to be a complete random event. As in, maybe I'll go to a party and then I'll meet a girl and then I really like, and then maybe she'll like me, and maybe something will happen, or maybe not. Uh, and but when I first started with Lisa, I discovered that there is an opportunity to actually intentionally create love and intimacy in a relationship. So I think what I did actually, at the time when we first started dating, I organized a few group dates. For example, we just reach out to our friends and family and say, hey, we're creating we are creating an intentional space for people to express their love for each other. We can do anything really. For example, this one time we went to the Cal Academy of Science, where we can hold hands and grab a drink or something like that. Walking through the museum and really create that intentional intimacy with each other. And it
Love
was
and
really
art.
awesome. It was probably the nerdiest thing you can think of. But we had a great time, and I believe almost 20 people showed up, like so 10 couples. showed up, and 20 people intentionally created love and intimacy for that evening. So it's pretty cool.
So is this your big love? Like, is this the one?
Well, is this going to be public video? Then yes, there is, of course. We are, stuff is in the works. That's as far as I can go.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. What about, tell me about beauty within your relationship, beauty within yourself.
Beauty within myself. Well, what a deep question that you ask. And reflecting to what you just shared with me, a lot of times I think, even, yes, when I was younger, that I think everybody, go through that phase in life where beauty is what other people define what it is for you, right? I recently hear actually teenagers are nowadays going to their plastic surgeons once the, what do you call it, the Instagram look, or was the Snapchat filter look, right? They want their surgeon to, to make them look like their Snapchat filter, and because the socially acceptable or the socially propagated the image of beauty for a young person is a filter. Um, what what a I mean, what a place to be coming from, to me, I think beauty and the self-love starts with knowing that and accepting yourself for who you are, and knowing that there is nothing wrong about you, or nothing wrong about this given body that you received in this world, and that there is nothing wrong with the way that you speak, or the way that you look, the color of your skin, or the shape of your eyes, or anything. It's just knowing that you are perfect the way that you are, and you are just as good and just like everyone else, and there's nothing more to be desired of you, to
So
love
what
yourself.
so why do you think that so many people struggle with that? Why do you think so many people have body issues or never don't feel like they're good enough?
Yeah. I don't know if so many people deal with that. I think it's natural to, for some people, it's natural to be, for everyone actually, it's natural to be in that space, right? I think, as people grow up, there are certain stage in your life that you discover something different about yourself comparing to others,
Mm.
right? All of the kids go to school and they all have their car, and you just happen to live around a corner and you walk to school, and people make up stories about, oh, maybe my family is not as well to do, or looking at other people's Facebook photos and they're all going on vacations, or driving nice cars, bought a new house or something, and they were like, wait a minute, I haven't been on vacation for so long, maybe there's something wrong with that, right? I
It
think it's
sounds like
human nature to compare, but sometimes it gets
that's
confused.
exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
The comparing our kind of like comparing our insides with other people's external stuff, right?
Right. Yeah, and I think that's human nature. I think in a way that instinctually, right, you look at what other people are doing, or maybe animals, right, back when we evolved, to look at what other animals are doing, they mimic, right? If the grass is greener on the other side, you will want to be on the other side, right? So you always looking to achieve what there is for self-preservation, for example, as a part of evolutionary biology. So it's human nature, but we have evolved to a place where we can acknowledge that being human is to have emotions and instincts and perception, and at the same time choose not to have our actions be governed by our emotions, and acknowledge this is how we feel, that we have feelings, but at the same time take the action to create beauty and love intentionally in our lives.
So how does someone who's struggling with these feelings of maybe inadequacy or body issues, or someone who's just judging them up against people on social media, judging themselves, how do they take first steps to change that? I mean, what kind of advice would you give to them?
Thank you for the question. I don't know. I'm nearly qualified or have any professional expert. I certainly don't have any professional expertise to be answering that question. But what I can share with you is that I think step one for someone is to acknowledge that that's what's happening, and be okay with that. It's to acknowledge that I'm jealous of someone, or that I feel inadequate about myself, or that I struggle with the way I look, or the way I feel, like physically, or I struggle with some physical features that I may have, right?
Yeah.
And step one is to acknowledge that, and then discover that really what you feel about that is only what you feel about that. That your psychology and who you are distinct, and you don't have to let how you feel change who you are.
You can use it as a jumping off point. When I began this journey, I started a seminar, and I decided to take on, as a result of that seminar, two big areas for me. The first one was my physical body, actually getting some of these items that were damaged, damage I had from giving birth to twins 33 years ago, and my arm and these things. And then also to finally start, maybe putting my toe in the water in the dating pool. I had been single for 9 years and not even looking for love, right? Just hiding out, taking care of other things instead. And so really taking these things on kind of stirred the pot for me, just really brought these to the forefront. And I could stay in that self-doubt, or I could use it as a jumping off point. And
well, you tell
so,
me, like, what, from that perspective, what was the source of your beginning to transform your relationship to the way your body is and how you relate to it? What was at the source of your change?
So funny thing is, you actually have a part in that, and I've never shared that. I've never shared that with you. When you were doing your and Lisa's love, creating love, you had challenged me to ask somebody out to join you guys. And so I went. Yeah, I went and I asked somebody out. I was so nervous. I'd never done it, and it was somebody that was relatively new in my world, right? And I asked them out, and they turned me down. They just said, "Thank you for the invitation, but no." And I thought, I could have gone either way. I could have used that to allow myself to shrink, or I could use that as, okay, don't be a punk. Now it's time to step up, right? And
Yeah, but
so,
I remember this event. How come that you made the choice to actually accept that and expand yourself in the process, as opposed to being disempowered by it and go into hiding and resisting? What was at the source of that?
I think that I was looking around and I was seeing people in love. I was seeing you in your new blossoming relationship. I was seeing other people, and I wanted that. And what I knew is hiding out, not dating, staying at home, reading a lot of fiction, was not going to generate that. Chances are my love was not going to come knock on my front door and say, "Hey, where have you been all my life?" So I was going to have to be generative, right? And I was going to have to move obstacles, move things that I had placed in my way in doing that. And so what I know is I don't have to reside in that place. I can create something new, right? And so I had a desire through the example of the people I had around me, and a desire in my heart to know and be known, right? And to love, that it was my responsibility. If I wanted that, I had to generate it. And so, but in the meanwhile, I had all these stories. I had these stories like, nobody's going to want me because I look like I'm 7 months pregnant. I have this hernia and this belly skirt, and I have these arm things. And it really interfered with my ability to see myself as attractive, right? And so I had to not only throw my hat in the ring and start, out in the world of, dating and that kind of stuff, but I had to work on feeling, or I made the choice to work on feeling beautiful inside and out. And so that journey has been going on for about a year now, and it will go on for at least another 6 months of having the procedure done and healing and that type of stuff. But in the meanwhile, it would have been so easy for me just to say, well, I'll just go get the surgeries done, and someday, that proverbial someday, or in the future. And I just thought of all the great teachers I had in my life that said to me time and again, someday never arrives. That's why it's someday, right? And so now was the opportune time, and I had to take it on right then and there. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't think you even realize the inspiration you are for me. Lots of mutual love going on right here.
Well, thank you. What I'm really hearing is that, thank you for sharing that, by the way, and it's really inspiring. And what I'm really hearing, that what made the difference for you is knowing that that's how you feel, and knowing that that's what triggers you, but at the same time, taking the action to create something that you desire anyway. Taking the action despite how you feel about it, taking the action despite what shows up for you, right? All the disempowering conversations and all of that, but taking the action, being out there, making yourself available, and actually creating something. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I also had to give up. I had to give up my stories. Like, I not only had to give up the story about not being physically attractive or take on the steps to change that. But I also had to give up stories like around online dating. It's horrible, it's hellish. Everybody there's fake. Like, I had to create a whole new possibility in that, and I had to create a whole new me in relationship to that. And that was work. Actually, that was work. There's a lot of conversation. Not only with me, but with other people getting to that place. So
yeah, awesome. Yeah, I really get that. It wasn't easy. It wasn't just like, have that, and be done with it. It's so funny. I saw somebody posted on Facebook a video about this old lady that had a huge garden, and the video is about how every morning she would go out to her garden and harvest fresh vegetables, and it was in this beautiful setting. And the person that posted the video asked, who would like to live like her, in this beautiful garden, have fresh vegetables every day? Raise your hand. And people are like, yeah, me, I would love to garden and blah, blah, blah. And then what shows up for me was like, oh, that looks great. But I mean, are you willing to do what it takes to have a garden like that? Because it's back day after day, backbreaking work. And then there's a long winter where you have nothing, but you sow the seeds anyway every spring. It's that what people are not talking about. So yeah, the enormous amount of work is inevitable.
It's definitely, and to gain that beauty, to have those things, it's the work, and it's the constant, right? It's not like you can just show up and 2 minutes later it's there, right? It's an ongoing process, and it's a season after season type of work. So I can really appreciate the analogy.
Absolutely.
That's really great.
To cultivate love, per se.
To cultivate love. We're going to sow love. We're sowing love. I love it. We should, my next blog should be about sowing love. That would be maybe a little weird.
The other thing that reminded me of something is that, your title was Fitting into Sleep, right? So obviously you're referring to, your experience. And, I am about 6'2", 6 feet 2 inches tall. And for tall men out there across the world, they all know that our problem is that we never fit into sleeves that is actually long enough to cover, and so that when we wear a suit, it appears proper. It's a age long challenge. So no matter what you're dealing with, there's always something to be disempowered about, or you can do something about it.
Custom made shirts.
There you go.
Well, thank you so much, Peter, for this fun and delightful conversation. I appreciate you being here today. And thank you, folks, for watching us. If you yourself or anybody you know would like to join the conversation and talk to us about love and beauty, please message me here or email me at scarrednomore@gmail.com. Thank you and have a beautiful day.